This is a really interesting time of the year. We just had Labor Day yesterday. Hope you guys all had a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Hope you did something fun. Hope you cracked some packs, pulled some heat. Hope you just got out, enjoyed the end of summer. That's why it's kind of an interesting time of the year, because it's a little bit sad that summer is ending. Kids are going back to school. It's going to start cooling off a little bit soon. And yeah, we move into the holiday season, which is a lot of fun. But then in Wisconsin, you move into January and February and March, and it's just cold. It is cold, and there's a lot of snow, and you don't have a whole lot to look forward to for several months. However, while it's sad that the summer is ending, it's also very exciting, especially if you're a sports fan. The Brewers are doing pretty well right now. Not too great over the last few games, but pretty well right now. They're at least in the hunt. They're in the heat of things. Moving into October baseball, that means playoff baseball. Also means the same time we have the start of the NFL. It'll be interesting to see how the Packers do this year. We have the start of the NBA coming up soon. So the Bucks. We have the start of the EPL. A little bit depressing of a loss the other day. Arsenal just killed it. Anyways, but at least sports are starting back up. Another thing that's really exciting is the Pokemon competitive side of things. The TCG regional events are starting back up. There's not a whole lot that goes on during summer when it comes to Pokemon. There's a couple of really big events, but regional season wraps up at the end of May, beginning of June, and then you really have nothing except for a couple big events. You have the North American International Championships in July. You have the World Championships in August, and that's basically it. So there are League Cups and League Challenges. The season has already started. If you have not gone to a Pokemon League or checked out a Pokemon League Challenge, League Cup, something in your area, I highly recommend doing it. It's an absolute blast. It's a ton of fun. Go to Pokemon.com, click on the TCG tab, click on the event locator, and just see what's in your area. Just go to a league, hang out, meet like-minded people who enjoy the game, who enjoy the hobby. It's a lot of fun. I guarantee you're going to love it. One of the other big things that happened is Pokemon announced that they're basically doubling the cash prize payouts for these regional events. So if you take first at a regional event, instead of $5,000, you're walking home with $10,000. And because of that, a lot of people are getting very excited. A lot of older players who haven't played for a while kind of making their way back through the woodwork, kind of coming back out of retirement to play, because there's a lot more incentive for them to play. And with Pittsburgh regional season officially starting up this weekend, unfortunately I won't be at Pittsburgh, but I will be at Peoria, which is about a month away, so I hope to see you out there. That's going to be an absolute blast. There's a lot of people already, records expected to be broken at these regional events with all the new players that are going to be coming in, all the old players that are going to be returning. It's going to be a lot of fun and something very interesting to keep an eye on. But with that, over the past couple months, a lot of cards that are expected to do well are starting to perform really well in the market. They're starting to increase in price as more and more players try and find these cards to build decks and prepare for regional events and things like that. And this is very important for everybody in Pokemon, whether you're somebody who's a store owner finding other ways that you can kind of capture some revenue, because sealed product isn't there. A lot of companies started during the boom, during the pandemic and things like that, where you could just sell sealed product for MSRP. You wouldn't have to worry about it sitting on the shelves. And now that those days are gone. Like, we have returned back to the old times, where you don't have the luxury of selling booster boxes at $130, $140. Now you're selling them basically at a loss. Obsidian Flame selling for $90, $95. Booster box cases of Obsidian Flame selling for $550, $575. Very, very cheap. And that's basically wholesale pricing now that MSRP increased. So a lot of storefronts kind of need to put on their thinking caps and adjust how they're handling things, because right now it's very dark for a lot of store owners. But it's also important for competitive players. It's also important for casual collectors, things like that, where you can utilize these cards as trade offerings to some competitive players who may need some Forest Seal Stones, or who may need a Giratina V-Star. So that way you can kind of fill out your collection. You're not putting them in bulk. That's one of the things that I really want to impress upon people, is that you do not want to put these cards in your bulk. I've seen it time and time again where people sell off all of these holographic rares just to be able to get something in their bulk. So they're getting 5, 6, 7 cents per holographic rare, and there's 4 seal stones in there. Well, that card is worth $15, $16 right now. We're going to look at that today. Some of these cards, 15 different cards that have started to really increase in price over the past couple months because of the competitive TCG. And that's why it's so important to keep up with it, even if you're not really interested in learning the competitive TCG, which I highly recommend you do. But finding some of these cards in your bulk, taking them out so that way you can use them, trade them on Instagram or on Discord or on Twitter or wherever you might trade them. Trade them at local league, places like that. Go learn the game. It's a lot of fun. But with that being said, I'm going to stop rambling and flip you guys around so you can see what the heck Fanny is talking about here. But we're going to talk about the competitive impact on things, and this is something that you're going to see throughout pretty much the entirety of the regional season, especially as less packs are getting cracked. So less Obsidian Flames getting opened, less Paldea Evolve getting opened, less Scarlet and Violet being opened, and these cards are going to last in the competitive TCG for some time. Now, they may not always be as relevant as they are right now. There's going to be ebbs and flows all over the place, but that's why it's important when you're opening up packs. If you're somebody who just likes to chase master sets or things like that, open up packs, make sure you're not bulking out your trainers. Put a nice 5-row of just trainers so that way you can flip through them and things like that. I've seen cards like Custom Catcher go from 50 cents to $11 overnight. It becomes completely playable in the game, and all of a sudden a lot of competitive players need copies on it. Well, you bulked them all out to a storefront, and all of a sudden the storefront is getting all the profit on that, and you're not getting any of that additional trade bait, things like that. So it's important to pay attention to the competitive market because there are going to be some severe swings every once in a while, like this Forest Sealstone. Now, Forest Sealstone has been rising for quite some time. We've talked about it quite a bit, and we are looking at 3 months of data here because I did want to highlight the fact that already at the beginning of July, it was already basically at a 3-month high. You can see at the beginning of June is when it really started rising, but when Silver Tempest came out, this card was selling for $3-4 a piece. It wasn't selling for anywhere near the price point that it is now, and now it's climbed into like the 5th or 6th most expensive card in Silver Tempest because it is such a staple in a lot of different decks in the competitive industry. So this card is going to stay in format for quite some time yet, and it's going to stay in the competitive decks for quite some time yet. You can see in June it was selling for $9, a little bit over $9. It was selling for $11.59. That was the 3-month low in June. Started rising quite a bit, and you can see the dip then after the international event went back down a little bit. So really the only players who are going to need it at that time in August were going to be Worlds qualifiers and things like that, people who might not have them already in their deck. But then after Worlds finished, started rising again. You can see it hit $15.63 a couple weeks ago. It's kind of backed off a little bit, right around $15.50 right now, but it's basically jumped up about 35% from where it was at the beginning of June, and that's just one card. We're going to look at 14 more that have done extremely well. Battle VIP Pass, there's some huge increases going on in some of these cards, Battle VIP Pass being one of them. A lot of decks are playing 4 of these because you need to draw it on your first turn, and by playing multiple copies of it, the only way that you can play this card is during your first turn. If you're only playing one of them in your deck, chances are you're probably not going to start with it in your hand. But if you play 4 of them, there's more than likely the chance your percentage rises drastically that you're going to be able to draw one of them in your first hand, especially with consistency cards and the ability to draw through your deck. But you can see right around Worlds over the last month, right around August 6th, August 7th or so, it was sitting at $1.53. That was its month low, and now it started rising slowly. And then at the beginning of September, end of August, so just over the past week, it's almost doubled in price because a lot of players starting to buy these for their decks, prepare for events like Pittsburgh, like Peoria, and you can see it jumped all the way up to $2.72, which is about a 78% jump that it's experienced over the past month. Giratina going up even higher. The Giratina Lost Zone deck has done extremely well on a lot of late night PTCG battles, things like that. It didn't do as well at Worlds, but it did have a decent showing, and a lot of adjustments can be made and text can be made to kind of offset the Mew VMAX or Gardevoir or whatever other deck you think might be kind of the deck to mess with or the deck to beat. Giratina V-Star really changing over the past month here. You can see in August 9th through the 14th really when it was at its month low, sitting at $7.69, but again, basically doubling in price over the past month. We saw this recently with a card like Umbreon VMAX, which shot up like crazy prior to Worlds, with a lot of players expecting, okay, well, maybe this is a deck that I want to play at Worlds. Fell out of favor a little bit. Giratina V-Star, one of those cards that's been pretty good ever since it released, fell out of favor for a while, and now it's really starting to increase again. You can see it hit $14.93 currently. That's just off of its high point, but it's jumped up 94.15%, which is absolutely insane, almost doubling in price. Iono, it has backed off a little bit, but as less people open Paldea Evolved, this is just the uncommon card, right? So we talk about those ancillary cards that you pull out of your booster boxes, things like that, where they're not ultra rares that might have value, because you're going to be pulling more copies of these cards, so that increases the value of what you're you're able to pull out of your booster box. I own one of those cards that's doing extremely well in the market. At the beginning of August, it was all the way down to $1.13. The set was relatively new at that time, only a couple months old. But as the set has been opened less and less, and a lot of people have focused on Obsidian Flames, or maybe now they're focusing on Pokemon 151, Scarlet and Violet 151, Iono has really started to climb. You can see in the middle of August there, right around August 19th, it jumped up to the almost $3.75 or so. Now it's backed off a little bit, sitting at $2.35, but that's still over doubling in price from where it was at the beginning of August. You're looking at about a 108% price increase, which is insane. Arceus V-Star expected to do well. There's lots of different copies of Arceus V-Star. There's the Rainbow Rare. There's this one. There's the Gold card. There's promo cards that are out there. It was in the Trainer Toolkit. It was in the Premium Collection that GameStop had. Arceus V-Star, just such a good card with that Starbirth ability. Is so big, and it's been partnered up with a lot of international winning cards in the past, like Flying Pikachu. Like it's done extremely well with a lot of other decks in the format. You can see at the beginning of August, this card was down to about $8.96, but it's grown 29% over the past month, especially with the release of Charizard EX from Obsidian Flames, which is expected to do fairly well in the competitive format. Arceus V-Star is a card that you're going to need in that deck in order to increase consistency and things like that. And because of that, it's jumped up to $11.56 currently, which is about a 29% increase. Raikou V has done extremely well for a while now, and it's been increasing more and more. At the beginning of August, this card was down to $3.45. It's currently sitting at $6.49. It's been going up like crazy over the past month. It's jumped up 164.9%, which is absolutely insane. That math actually doesn't work out at all. It's almost doubled in price, which would be 100%. I must have mathed wrong on this one, but you're looking at about 100% growth on this one as it continues to climb. Raikou V, very, very important in the competitive format for a lot of different reasons. Palkia, other cards that are doing extremely well. Radiant Greninja, another card, really the Radiant card that you really want. Radiant Charizard doing okay right now because of the Charizard EX in the market, but Radiant Greninja with that concealed cards ability is extremely important, especially if you're playing Lost Zone. At the beginning of August, this card had dropped down to $2.69. It has had some peaks and valleys, but over the past month, it's been doing extremely well. It jumped up to about $4 at the end of August. Now it backed off a little bit, sitting at $3.55, but you're still looking at about 32% growth over the past month, which is extremely strong. Rare Candy, another card that's really important, especially because of that Gardevoir ability. A lot of Stage 2 Pokemon expected to do well. Gardevoir expected to do well. Charizard EX obviously expected to do well, and because of that, Rare Candies are becoming more and more popular. The common and uncommon variants of Rare Candy, there's been so many of them that have been printed for a very long time, and a lot of those are legal as long as the text remains the same. Those have not seen the movement that this gold Rare Candy has seen. You can see in August at the beginning of the month, it was selling for about $8.52, jumped up to about $11.70 or so. It's backed off a little bit to $11.55, but you're still looking at about 35.5% growth over the past month, which is extremely crazy. Super Rod, another important card, being able to put energy back in your deck to increase consistency. Again, very important for a deck like Lost Zone where you're reliant on energy cards and things like that. Same thing with Charizard. Beginning of August, it was selling for about $10.77, but it's done extremely well over the past month. Jumped up to about $14.50. Now it's currently sitting at $14.24, which is just over 32% growth over the past month. Mew with the Mysterious Tail ability, which is extremely important for a lot of different decks. Once during return of this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may look at the top 6 cards of your deck, reveal any item card you find, an item card you find there, and put it into your hand. Basically, again, consistency is everything in Pokemon, so this helps you find more item cards, more consistency. You know, Mew doing $6.11 at the beginning of August, and seen a lot of growth ever since then. It jumped up to about $9 at one point. Now it backed off a little bit and then started going back up again. It's sitting at $8.61 currently. That's a 40.92% increase over the past month. Really, really strong. Arceus V, we already talked about Arceus V-Star. Arceus V also has a lot of different copies. Because of that, you're going to see more peaks and valleys, but overall, Arceus V doing extremely well over the past month. It's seen almost 34% growth. August 9th, it was selling for about $3.19. It did jump all the way up to about $4.80 near the end of August, then came back down a little bit, and now it's starting to rise a little bit again, sitting at $4.27 currently. Again, that's almost 34%. Lumineon V with that luminous sign, very important for consistency. You see Gardevoir play it a lot. you'll see you might even put it in Lost Box. But because of that luminous sign, those abilities are really important. So in the beginning of August, this card was selling for $2.36. It's gained about 50% ever since then, sitting at $3.55. So again, bulk V cards, you want to make sure that these cards aren't sitting in your bulk pile where you're selling them for 50, 75 cents a piece, because this card is worth $3.55, which is like half, like 75% of the full arts in Obsidian Flame. So you might be able to do a trade right there to help fill out some master sets or collections or things like that. Raichu V also doing really well, 81.76% growth. This has been removed from the bulk V category at the beginning of August. It was selling for $1.59. Saw a lot of growth. It did back off a little bit down to $2.50 at the end of August, but a lot of copies kind of moving, helping push the market price up further and further, sitting at $2.89 currently, 81.76% growth. Then we've got Bidoof, the whole line, Bidoof and Bibarel, very important with the ability. This card was selling for $3.13 at the beginning of August. Seen some nice growth. Again, Crown Zenith. It's nice to see some of these character rares performing well, especially with how much Crown Zenith has been printed. We're expecting more Crown Zenith to be coming over the next month, but $3.13 jumping up to $4.27 currently. That's about 36% that it's grown over the past month. And then we've got Radiant Charizard. I believe this is the last one that we're going to look at. Radiant Charizard, really a card that you're only going to put one of in your deck, and this is the cheaper variant, so this one has seen more growth than the one from Pokemon Go. You're seeing about 19.26% growth over the past month. At the beginning of August, it was down to $4.05. Yeah, Danny, it's only jumped up about 80 cents so far, but again, that still is almost 20% that it's grown over the past month, sitting at $4.83 currently, and a lot of it's going to depend on how Charizard does, how it performs moving forward. If it does extremely well at Pittsburgh, then these cards might even go up further. A lot of it is going to be, right now, we're just kind of in the world of unknown right now. We're not knowing exactly what's going to perform extremely well at Pittsburgh, and a lot of these regional events, once you start seeing decks perform extremely well, those are the cards that you want to make sure you remove from your bulk, so that way you're not selling them off basically for pennies on the dollar. So I hope you enjoy the content. If you do, please hit that subscribe button down below, leave a like, leave a comment. It goes a really long way for the algorithm. Share the video. Just be amazing, which you guys already all are. So thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow with a live break, Thursday and Friday with more videos. Guys, thank you so much for everything. I really appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon. Until next time, peace.